Hey everyone, welcome to this live chat. It's been a while. Very excited to be with you today to talk about jazz piano, some practice tips, how to form intros, things like that. I've gotten a few questions already, and I welcome any question in the chat, so feel free to ask away. I thought I'd take the first part of this chat to just kind of talk about what's been new here. I have a new recording out if you haven't heard. So my trio, Affinity Trio, has a new outlook. It's on all the streaming platforms, and you can find it on our website, affinitytrio.com, and Origin Records as well. So I'm really excited about it, and my tune, new outlook, is title track. So I'm thrilled to be able to show you because it's been a couple years had some new music. So let me know if you've heard it, and let me know if you have a favorite track. So the first thing, I also wanted to let you know that I'm playing in Chicago on Friday night. That's tomorrow, November 14th. At Pianoforte Studios, and on Michigan Avenue. It'll be Affinity Trio's Chicago album release at 7:30, and I'm really excited about that. So if you're in the area, definitely come down. If you're not, we are live streaming it on the Piano Studios YouTube channel, so you should be able to find that on YouTube. So let me check on everything and make sure the video's coming through. I'm actually using Restream today, and I'm doing something new, so I might make a few mistakes, so bear with me. Just wanted to make sure that everything's coming in clearly. And you guys can let me know as well. Let's see here. Sorry for the delay, but I'm using something new, and whenever you try something new, you know what happens. You make mistakes, and you just got to figure it out, go along. So welcome, and I've had a great time playing recently. I played with my good friend, bassist and vocalist Chris. She was here from Denmark doing some Midwest dates, so we played in Indiana, at Women's Playhouse. We played at Club Let It Be in Waukesha, which is a Beatles-themed venue. And then we went to Minneapolis, and we played at the Dane Center. We played at Hamilton College in Northfield, and we did a master class there. And then we came back to a jazz club in Chicago. So it was really great. And then I went back to Minneapolis on the 31st to play with Unity Trio at Berlin. That was fabulous. It's a new place. If you're anywhere near there, you have to go. We were a little bit concerned, or I was a little bit concerned, because it was Halloween and it was Game 6 of the World Series. So I thought, I don't know if we're going to have a nice crowd, but we did, and that was great. So we'll jump right into some of the questions that I received. So the first one is from Basham. So I hope he's listening or able to watch later. And that question is, how do you get the most out of practicing concepts with a limited practice schedule? So that can be tricky, especially as life progresses and you maybe get married or have kids. You don't have the kind of time that you did when you were a music student, and you had pretty much all day to work on your craft when you weren't at classes. So I know most who play music, you do have busy lives. The thing that makes the most of a difference to me is when practice time is short, you need to laser focused on what you're accomplishing. So whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours, you just can't noodle around. If you do have time and you do set aside time for just playing around and noodling, that's fine. But if you're practicing to accomplish something and you've got a performance, or you're just trying to get to the next level as a musician, you're going to want to be more intentional. So how I would answer that question is maybe pick a concept or two to tackle and just stick with that. So if you've got 10 minutes, maybe you're working on a bebop tune and you're just going to work on the melody. Okay? You're not going to worry about the chords. You're not going to worry about improvising. What am I going to play for the intro? No, you're just going to work on the melody. So that's something very specific that you can do and get a lot done in 10 minutes. Another thing that you can try is maybe you're focusing on really mastering a certain voicing, and you want to try that voicing in some different keys, many different keys, trying it out on tunes, and maybe that's a way that you can focus and be very intentional with a very short amount of time. The more familiar you get with jazz piano voicings, the more you can start using them and plugging them in different tunes. And so it's better to learn, one voicing and get really comfortable with it and learn it in several keys, then all 12 keys, than it is to try to work on too many things at once. And then you don't really master anything, do you? So that's that. And then even focusing on just, say you're working on a transcription and it's a very, very overwhelming thing, isn't it? When we transcribe a solo from a recording, we listen to Oscar Peterson or Bill Evans or Mulgrew Miller, and we think, oh, that's too overwhelming, and it just seems such a monumental task. But if you've got 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you can say, okay, I'm going to learn the first 4 measures or the 8 measures of this solo. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to go forward. Even if I can get it easily, I'm just going to work on those 8 measures. So you'll be amazed at how much you improve by doing that and being intentional. And that way you purpose to your practice. It's just not mindless. So that can also help. It's very important to me to have quality over quantity when it comes to practicing, okay? So rather than practice 5 pieces in 30 minutes and kind of sort of know them and, good enough to play at the gig, no, I would much rather practice one tune in and out, really listening to how I'm phrasing, how I'm voicing, and how I'm comping on a tune, and making sure I'm in quality. And that will carry over into other tunes you learn as well. So you don't have to fear like, oh, I didn't get to this, get to that. If you do something well, it's going to carry over, okay, into the next thing that you do. So let me know if that's helpful and if you have any follow-up questions. But being laser focused is absolutely important. And this means you have to turn off your as you're listening to a tune you're transcribing on your phone, but you can maybe put it in airplane mode. You don't want to constantly have something interrupting you. You want to have that time where your brain can really absorb what you're trying to accomplish. Now, again, I'm using Restream for the first time, and so thank you. If you would just write something in the comment, just say hi or where you're watching from, that would help me, just so I know that you're seeing the chat. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened there, but hopefully everything's still going well. I see the videos dropping some frames a little bit. But hopefully we're good to go. Andrew, leaving a comment. Hi, thank you, Andrew. Let me know if this has been helpful in terms of making practice time count when you've got limited time. If you have any follow-up questions on that. And feel free to ask other questions as well. This is your time to think about those questions. I help you be a better musician, a better pianist, if that's your instrument. And we'll go on from there. So the other thing that I got another question. So let me go to that question. Yeah, actually, before I leave Basham's question, I really wanted to address a couple things, and I think I did mention this in a prior live chat. What we want to do, and it's so important, is prioritize what's coming next. So tomorrow night, my trio has a album release. So I really want to make sure today that I'm polishing, just putting the final touches on what we're playing tomorrow night, and that'll really help the things that I'm trying to accomplish on those tunes. Since it's this time of year, I'm thinking, okay, what gigs are coming up next? What do I want to accomplish for my solo piano pieces? What Christmas gigs do you have coming up? And what music do you have to learn? I'm not really in the mood right now on November 13th, Christmas music, but I do have something that I need to prepare for. Couple things that I need to prepare for. And so I have the music all ready. I have it ready to practice, and I got to start on it pretty quickly after this week because I want to be prepared, and it helps me with my practice time if I've got certain goals. I know this is coming up on Friday. I know this is coming up on Saturday. I know I have this concert in 3 weeks, and that helps prioritize practice time when it's limited. So I wanted to mention that as well. You have to ask yourself, when you know yourself well, how long it takes to learn new music. So you have to ask yourself, when start working on that music so that it's ready in time. Does anyone else have any other tips? You can drop them in the chat. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is answering a question from Ray. So I don't know if you're out there, Ray, but you did ask a great question. And this question, let me look at it here because I wrote it down. Okay, from Ray, I'd love to hear you talk about intros when accompanying yourself while singing. All right, so that's a wonderful topic. I don't know how many of you accompany yourselves singing or play with singers. But either way, we want to talk about intros and effective ways to bring our voice in so that it's comfortable, that we can come in and tune, and we set the tone for whatever tune we're doing. And setting the tone, I think, is all about what the intro is all about. So let's talk about intros when you're singing and playing. But again, it applies to if you are accompanying another singer. So let me pull up here. I've got my intro on East of the Sun. So this is my intro on East of the Sun, and I'm going to play through it, and then I'll talk about it. Let me switch so that you can watch on the overhead camera. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's rhythmic. It's got interest in terms of you can clearly see the chord progression. So we're in the key of E, and it starts on the 3 chord, E minor 7. Then it goes to E flat 7. Okay, and then it goes to D minor 7, the 2 chord, and then to G7, the 5 chord. And then that sets up the 1 chord, the C major 7. So really nicely, it leads into the 1 chord, C major 7. This is like a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, but we're using the E flat 7 in place of the A7. So the tritone sub is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so if you were playing for a singer, they could clearly hear the progression, and the rhythm really sets up the swing. Okay, you can tell it's a medium swing. I'm clear, and I've done it in 4 measures. So take a standard, and you can do that 3, 6, 2, 5. And you can also you can play a tritone sub anytime. I could play a tritone sub on the 5 chord too. And play D flat 7 into the C. Okay, so let me know, how does that sound? It works for me. This time I'll start singing so you can hear what the song sounds like. East of the sun and west of the moon, we'll build a dream house of love, dear. Okay, so I set that up, and it's clear. It allowed me to come in on the right note and sound confident and swinging. So 3, 6, 2, 5 will work will work well, Ray, and you can try any substitutes you like in terms of the tritone sub. But you can also, if you want, you could do it twice. So you could make it 8 measures. And maybe I'll walk a bass line this time. East of the sun and west of the moon. And that works as well. So East of the Sun, a great tune by Brooks Bowman. I recorded it on my first album, Blue. And no, I recorded it on my second album, sorry, The Way of Time. It's been a while. And that was the arrangement I played. That's the intro I played. So simple but effective. Okay, so Andrew, could I ask about time? How important is it? It's everything, Andrew. It really is. So when you're setting up a tune, and you can see how even though I'm by myself and I don't have a bass player and a drummer, I'm really setting it up. I don't need a bass player and a drummer if I have the pulse inside of me. I can tap my foot. I can practice with a metronome. That helps as well. It doesn't matter how simple I play it, but if I play it in time, it feels good and it works with the tune and the style of the tune. That's it. I mean, we want to play in good time. We don't want to sound, just like we're tipsy or something, and that the rest of the band can't feel our intros. Again, if you're by yourself, you want to, even more so, you want the time to feel great because it's all on us, right? When we're playing solo, piano and voice. So Yeah, it's 100% the first thing. You can play the simplest voicings, and I'll do that now. I'll walk the same bass line, play the same 3-6-2-5-1 intro. This time, I'll play only sevenths in my right hand, but I'll play it with good time, and you'll feel how it guides us into the tune. East of the sun. Okay, so keeping it simple. It's always a good idea to keep things simple and swinging and soulful. Those are priorities for me as a player. And yeah, so I hope that helps. And let me try something on another tune that will work as an intro as well. So here's another tune, Black Coffee, and this one I've heard Errol do, I've heard Carmen McRae and others do, and this tune is actually it's an AABA tune, but the A section is a blues, and so I could do a 1-6-3 1-6-2-5 to go into Black Coffee as an intro. But one thing that I love coffee is do a vamp. And a vamp is simply a progression or a chord that's repeated over and over. So if I'm playing the Joe Beam tune, this is a vamp. So it's just repeated. And so often musicians will go, okay, let's vamp the intro, or the ending, we just vamp and fade out. So you get, just in case you haven't heard the word vamp before. So I'm going to coffee a little bit of the intro, and this is my arrangement of it. So you can hear me play just the 1 chord to the 5 chord, but if you play it with good time and some nice voicings, it'll really set it up nicely. I'm feeling mighty lonesome, haven't slept a wink. Okay, just 1 to 5, like that. And again, on this one, you could actually play the tritone sub as well. So you could play C to D flat. Make it C. Okay, so I can make them dominant chords, or I could just keep it a simple C6-9, or voice it like this, with the 6th, the 9, the 3rd, and the 5th. So again, vamps work so effectively to set up a tune, and I'm setting up this bluesy feel. And Black Coffee, just because of the tempo, it has underlying triplets, right? Bum 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 bum. So it's a great way to set up a blues or a slow tempo, medium slow tempo. You could also set up a ballad that way. So Black Coffee is a blues with a bridge, and there's some other out there with bridges as well. Any other questions on Black Coffee before I move on, or playing vamps? Again, super effective on a Latin tune. If you guys know Corcovado, or let's use Wave as an example. So it's a D minor 7 to G7 vamp. Okay, so that was an example of a vamp. It's interesting on that tune. It's in the key of D major, and the vamp is on a minor, D minor 7 to G7. I think that's, you get that kind of bluesy or modal sound, and then the D major is nice change and sounds great to my ears. Yeah, so that's the vamp, and you can go ahead and do that when you end a tune as well. So intros and endings, sometimes you can do the same thing in the intro as you do on the ending. It might work on the tune, it just depends. But hopefully that'll give you some more ideas, Ray. I do have another tune that I'm going to bring up, and that is a ballad. So here's the ballad. You've changed. I've just got the first 4 measures up on the screen. And, I could do a vamp, and I could do a 3-6-2-5-1, and those would work as well on You've Changed. So here's what a 3-6-2-5-1 would sound like on You've Changed. To set it up, we're in the key of A flat, and so the 3 chord would be C minor. Let me set a keyboard. All right. You've changed. That sparkle in your eyes is gone. Your smile is just a careless yawn. Okay, so that works really nicely. And I can also try, I love a rubato opening. So rubato is when we're playing out of time, okay? So I can set up a nice, spacious atmosphere on a ballad like You've Changed, and I can just play something that's more lush, and I can take time before going into time. You've changed. That sparkle in your eyes is gone. Okay? So that's how I could do that on You've Changed. And really, especially when I'm playing, maybe in the middle of your set or toward the end, and you've been playing some up-tempo tunes and some really high-energy, lively tunes, especially with bass and drums. If you do that, and then you do a ballad where you play something out of time, rubato, it can be super effective. So I hope you like that. Okay, Andrew, I'm so glad you're asking questions, and fire away, because it doesn't seem like we have as many as in the past, but that's okay. I'm going to put your question up. And I can see it better too. Being greedy, oh no, that's okay. You don't have to be greedy. my 16th notes always rush. Oh, okay. Any tips to maybe improve this? You know, that's kind of, do you mean the 16th notes in your improv or when you're learning a tune, or both? Maybe both, right? Our tendency, I think, when we hear a faster note, like a 16th note, sometimes even an eighth note or a triplet, is to rush it because we have in our mind that, oh, this is faster. It's faster than we anticipated, or it's just faster than everything else we've been playing prior. And so when the 16th notes come along, it can help to subdivide the beat, especially on a ballad. So if it's too much space for you to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If that's just too much, you feel yourself rushing when you come to 16th notes, you can try subdividing just mentally, and even you can do it counting like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3. If that can help you stay in time a little bit better. Also, even 16th notes: 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4. I'm just thinking if I counted 1E and a 2E and a 3. Yeah, so that works too. If that helps, both. I knew you were going to say that. Because generally, if we've got some kind of weakness, with rhythm, it generally shows itself in different places. So hopefully kind of thinking about a slower tempo like that will help you not rush the 16ths. There are different ways that you can practice. You can practice metronome like this. And you can also practice it with it on beats 2 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and you'll know that you're rushing if you come in and like right on the beat when it beats on 2 and 4. One tune that comes to mind is, I don't know if you know Ciora by Lee Morgan, but it has a lot of 16th notes in it. So I didn't expect to play that today, but it just came to mind when you asked about this. So you can see how there's a lot of 16th notes in that tune. And just by practicing slowly, and you might, again, have the metronome on just the downbeat. You might have it on 2 so that you can hear if you're rushing. But don't get discouraged. It just takes time and experience to feel that the 16th notes are comfortable and that they feel good for you. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Feel free to follow up if you think of anything else. So those are a few favorite intros that and again, if you want some more ideas on intros, I actually did a video on minor key intros a while back, and you can check that one out. But I talked about that was in an instrumental setting, not in an accompanying a voice setting. But I think the principles still apply, whether it's a saxophone coming in or yourself on piano or if it's singing. So, okay, great, Andrew. I'm glad that helped, and I hope it helps someone else who's watching later. Usually when we ask questions, we're not the only ones who need answers to that question. So we need people just to don't feel bad. There's no question that's too basic or too beginner or intermediate-ish to ask. we're all in this music as musicians together trying to improve. So whatever we can do to help each other is great. And so this is again our time to ask questions. Okay, so I'll just change up the scene a little bit. And yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about too, and this is more to do with gear. And you guys can let me know if you would like me to do a live stream or at least post a video of my equipment. I know sometimes people have asked about equipment, like what microphones am I using, and how, you know, the setup and how I got, well, I'll just tell you how I got the overhead camera, this one. So I used to have a tripod and just put it up really high, and then I had this arm to go over the keyboard. But what happened is, to get it up so high, the tripod had to be like rear, and it was hindering me moving. So I got this C stand. It's right here behind me, and it's like this at the bottom with three, and then it goes up with a really pole, and then it goes over. It's much sturdier. It's a little more expensive, but it was still very reasonably priced. So again, that's a C stand rather than a tripod. So if you want me to talk about that, I can, or I can make a video about it later, or maybe try to take some pictures of it and show them another time. And another thing I got just recently is a Bluetooth pedal. I'm probably a little bit more behind the times than a lot of my fellow musicians out there, but this has been really great. I got a tablet last Christmas, and so I have most of my music digitized and in PDF format, and it's on my tablet. So this Bluetooth pedal allows me to turn the keys with my foot. So I've got it here on my left foot, and this is back a page, and this is forward a page. And so again, this might be kind of basic to everyone out there, but for me, it was a new tool that's been really helpful. I will say that there's a bit of a learning curve with this pedal, or at least there was for me. Maybe it's more comfortable for other people who use their feet, maybe organists or drummers. But we play piano with our right foot, our pedals with our right foot, and then you're trying to turn the pages with your left foot. And if you notice, the piano pedal is about like this. Well, not high, but close. Okay, and we press it down. So when this is on the ground, it's much lower. So I had to get used to it being low on the ground. So let me think about if you've used a Bluetooth pedal and if it's been helpful, and how is it learning for you? It hasn't been easy. After about 10 months, I'm still working at it. But you may be different and be more coordinated. So this is the A-tone Bluetooth pedal, but there are lots of different ones out there. I have an Android tablet, but you can use, I think it's compatible with an iPad as well. So not anything, I just like it and thought I would share it. And then some of you, I've shown this Lark, Holyland Lark M2 microphone set. They're really helpful. Now, I don't use this a lot in live streaming, only because I actually use it when I teach a lesson, if I'm doing a remote lesson, because it frees me up from having the microphone over my keyboard. Just put this little microphone here, and then you just plug this receiver into your camera or your mixer, and it's wonderful. It comes with 2 mics and this charging case. And again, I'm not sponsored or anything. I just really enjoy using this. It also comes and this is the wireless about it. You can put it in your phone like this, and all you have to do, there's no Bluetooth setup or anything. You just put this right in your phone and put the microphone on, good to go, and you have great audio. It does come for, this is a Samsung Galaxy. It does come with one that has it for the iPhone as well. So yeah, this for the iPhone. And when I bought it on Amazon, it was $179.99. It's now only $99.99. So I feel like that's so good to get some good audio if you do, or if you just record yourself on your phone. It's much better than the phone's audio. Now, where I can't use it is when I have the microphone on and I'm playing the acoustic piano. It just doesn't pick up an acoustic instrument, but it sounds okay when I'm using my keyboard. Okay, Soberan, is that how you say your name? I hope I got it right. Do you think a jazz pianist could teach a jazz guitarist? Are the principles the same? That's a great question. Yes and no. Yes, in terms of teach what? If their pianist would teach a jazz guitarist jazz improv and theory and style and things like that, yes. But unless the jazz pianist was familiar with guitar, that would be kind of difficult, just because, yes, they're both comping instruments, right? But they are very different. You know, one is a percussion instrument, the piano, the other's string. And so it's different in the sense of the mechanics of the instrument, right? The geography of the piano and the guitar. You know, we're playing this way, and we've got special turns and challenges, and so do guitars. So I would say, definitely to some degree, a jazz pianist could teach a jazz guitarist. But when it comes to actually learning the instrument and the mechanics of the instrument, I would encourage a guitarist to study with another guitarist, and for the technique and for the concepts that guitar players will use. Great question, though. In terms of jazz, yeah, the principles are very similar. You know, when it comes to rhythms, I've learned a lot from listening to guitar players like Montgomery and Grant Green and Russell Malone. And so when I hear them, definitely get ideas from comping. And I'm sure that they're influenced by the great master jazz pianists as well. So, and you're welcome. I'm glad that helps. So, let's see what else here. Yeah, if you ever have any other questions about the gear, let me know. I just wanted to share that microphone again because it's been really great. And hey, Pierre. Okay, so Pierre's asking, what does pedaling do in jazz? Were you saying I got one in terms of the Bluetooth pedal? So the Bluetooth pedal I'm just using to turn pages when I'm reading a PDF file on my tablet. But pedaling in jazz, in terms of, so when we're playing a swing tune, we don't want to get too bogged down with the pedal because we're trying to keep the music moving forward and lifted. So if I'm just comping along here. I'm not going to use the pedal a lot, maybe to hold some of my longer notes when I'm comping, but you don't want to muddy waters. A lot of jazz tunes, the chord changes are moving quickly from one to the next, and you don't want to get it too muddy. Where I do use it more is on ballads. So let me switch to the keyboard view. So you can see my, actually you can't see the pedals very well, but very helpful on ballads. Just make sure that you're changing with the changes. So let me try, let's do Body and Soul. Change. Change. So I'm changing when the chord changes. Otherwise I get, and it just blends together and it's not so good. So does that help, just hearing the pedal on a ballad? I get this question a lot, so I'm glad you asked it again. I'm glad again, Pierre, because I think, in fact, I can't remember who it is, but they kept commenting on my YouTube videos, like, show us, what are you doing with the pedal? How are you? Well, that's how I'm doing it. I'm using it to sustain voicings, especially in a ballad, but it could be on a longer type chord when I'm comping as well. Okay, that's a good one too, Andrew. I'm confused about how rigidly I should play rooted left-hand chords when comping. I've spent years learning rootless and have been told rooted is better. Yeah, should I learn both equally? Yeah, you should. There's just going to be situations where the rooted chord sounds best. And I think, when you look at Thelonious Monk or Oscar Peterson, whoever it is, a great pianist, they didn't avoid the root. And I know that sometimes you have to be careful when you're playing with a bass player that you don't get in their way. But usually if you've got the root, it's gonna sound good either way. I'll give an example. So maybe when I'm playing a B flat 7 chord, I could play the root and the 7th in the left hand. And then the 3rd, 13th, and the root on top. That's a really nice sounding voicing, great to use on a blues, right? If I play it without the root, it still sounds great. If I play it with the root, it does sound fuller. So when I'm in a solo piano situation, I may go more roots. But even if I didn't, again, this comes down to time. If I've got good time, it's going to be fine. And I can play root things in my left hand, and I can punch in a bass note now and then to reinforce it, but they sound good on their own too. So I think for me, time is more important. But I would learn voicings that you can play with the root if that helps. And like for a D minor 7, if I want to play just something in root position, I can do that. Or I can move it up, play a rootless voicing, play the 9th, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, and that's gonna sound good. And if I'm playing D minor and I'm soloing, and I leave out the bass note, that's okay. Okay, but I could also punch it in. Or I could play the rooted voicing. So do you hear how, in a sense, that they all sound pretty good? All sound equally good. hopefully that helps. Pierre asks, on average, what do you wear on stream days? Oh, interesting. So when I'm live streaming, I try to wear something comfortable, not too hot. I've actually got the fan above me on just because sometimes when I don't know if you guys are like this, but when I play, I get warm. I get warmed up and I feel, a little bit hot sometimes, especially if I have a jacket. I found though that I try to wear something a little bit colorful because everything around me is black or white or wood or neutral, and I think it helps the viewer, especially if you're watching on your phone. It's you're kind of watching a very small video. It really helps visually, to have a color on rather than just neutral. I've done both, but the main thing is comfort, and I try to look professional, even if I'm wearing jeans like I am wearing today. So I hope that helps. You can ask a follow-up if you want. That's a great question. I'm generally dressed down compared to when I perform. When I perform, I usually don't wear jeans. I usually have dress pants and a blazer or a dress, and fancier shoes. And Andrew, that's okay. If it's your last one or if you have a couple more, do you find it easier to play good time on a real piano rather than a keyboard? Yes, absolutely, yes. In fact, playing an acoustic instrument just gives me more confidence. I feel like I sound better. Now, I'm not opposed to using keyboards, and in fact, I've got a Roland RD88, and I enjoy playing it, but I just, again, you're right. I just feel like my time is better on an acoustic piano. But I don't really practice on my keyboard either. I might use it for some outdoor gigs or, a stage that's outdoors and they're not providing a piano. And, my time will be okay. I will say my time is getting better on a keyboard, but I don't practice on the keyboard. So I'm never going to feel as comfortable as I do on my piano. And maybe you'll find that as well. Yeah, I think, again, it's, if we're spending practice time on our pianos and then we go to a keyboard, it doesn't matter how weighted the keys are, and if they're, full-size keyboard, weighted keys, it just, for me, it's more of a confidence thing. I just don't feel as confident in my sound. I would say I do feel more confident now that I did 10 years ago on playing electronic keyboards, but still not 100% like I do on my piano here. So, and that goes for just about any instrument that I'm playing, but especially this one. But great question. And so Pierre asks, what's the live stream setup like, or what's your yeah? So if I'm doing a stream where I'm performing, I do use the piano, and you can see the mics right here. So I've got two mics, and they're Shure, I think they're SM181s. They're a condenser mic, and what I like about them is they're small. They're about this big, and the head on them is almost like it's a circle shaped. It's about like this. And what about that is I can move them around, but if I lower the stand, I can close the lid and I can capture the sound of the mics with the lid down. Now I used to do that if I live streamed with another musician. My mics wouldn't be picking up, a horn player so much. But I found that it doesn't really matter because they're picking up quite a bit of room noise. So I've got the one on the bass and one on the treble end, and I've done some experimenting with lowering them and then having them pretty high up, and I don't hear much of a difference. So I don't think it really matters where you place them. yeah, the having one on the bass and one on the treble is good. And then I've got my Sennheiser microphone here on a boom stand, which I usually do. Sometimes if I'm not talking so much, I might have it behind me, and then I'll just grab it to talk, and then put it away when I'm playing. And then I've got the ATEM Mini Pro. I don't want to grab it here because I don't want any cords to fall out, but it does is you plug your cameras into that, and so I can switch from camera to camera like that. Now, when I'm doing a performance live stream, I put them on switchers, switch back and forth. And if you've seen any of my solo piano videos or any live stream where I'm performing, you'll see that the camera's switching, except for really old ones when I only had one camera. And my camera is a Lumix G95. I have two of them, and they're not cheap, but what I recommend if you're just wanting to start live streaming is getting, just start with what you have. And if you have just a nice webcam or something, just start with that. That's what I used before I got my good camera and before I got two cameras. And then I have a Mackie mixer, Mackie Mac, and it's got multiple outputs in it. And again, if you want me to, sometime I can do a video or a live stream on just how I go live. And if that would be helpful for you, let me know. I'm happy to do it, because I had a lot of questions too when I first started out. But I have some lights too. I don't use them too often because I try to do chats like this during the day, and I have a big window in the living room, so it's got a lot of natural light. And that's a good tip, is if you can get light from a window on your instrument, you or your instrument, that really helps. And much it, and everything is going into my laptop. I don't have a dedicated streaming PC. It's something that I'm thinking about doing, but it always seems like there's something else that I need instead. In fact, I need a new bench. I don't know if you can see, but it's cracked, and the the foam is coming out, and it's not so comfortable, but it's very old, and so I need to replace that before I get any other, tech gear. And yeah, that's the Mackie mixer that I'm using. I'm really happy with it. I've had good success with Behringer equipment too. And Pierre, your other question, what pianos did you have at home your whole life? Oh, okay. So when I was first starting out, my first piano was an old English upright that my parents bought used, just to see if I was interested. And I played that one. It didn't stay in tune very well, but it was nice and carved, and it was a good to get my start on that one. And maybe for 2 years, and then I got a Lesage piano, Lesage. And I actually talked about this a little bit with my Patreon members. That piano was made in Canada, and the company has since, I think, been bought by another company. So I had that it's still at my parents' house. And so I used that. And then, of course, when I went to college, I just practiced on the pianos at college. And then I had either borrowed or rented for a while before I got a Schumann piano. And that was a small baby grand. And I had that for probably from 2001 to 2011. And then I got this Steinway. And this Steinway belonged to my mother-in-law. She played violin in the Memphis Symphony, and she would accompany her students on this piano. And it's a Steinway M, so I think it's 5'7". It's one of the smaller ones, but plenty of space and sound in this room. And so I've had this since 2011. Both my in-laws have passed away. So, and they always said, this would be my instrument. So I'm very grateful to have it because if you know how expensive these pianos are, I'm so grateful for it. And that, they passed it on to me and I play it all the time. So that's kind of the pianos that I've had at home. I've had various keypad, Yamaha keyboard. I had the Yamaha DX7 in the 1980s. Or DX9. I had the DX9. That wasn't as good. So if you, I was in high school in the late 1980s. That was a popular keyboard. Right now I have the Roland RD88, and that's pretty nice. It's something that I can carry on my own, which is really important. As I get older, I don't want to carry something too heavy and hurt my back. And I need to be able to lift it into the car and out of the car. And another question, Pierre, I have not tried vertically. I know I can with my phone, and the microphone I showed you, I could plug that in and you use it like that. But let me know if you'd like me to try a live stream vertically. I really would be interested in it. I love to make reels and things like that and YouTube shorts, but I tried live streaming vertical. So that would be a challenge. And since I use my laptop and not my phone, I'm not sure how I'd get vertical. I know there's a way, but I need to look into it. And a question about piano tuning from Andrew. My real piano goes out of tune pretty darn quickly, every 2 to 3 months after being tuned. Does that sound normal-ish? Yeah, it depends on the time of year and the climate you're in. I haven't had this piano tuned since May 26th, and it's almost, it's mid-November. So, but as long as the humidity is up, it doesn't go out of tune as quickly. Now, as soon as the temperatures drop Midwest in the Chicago area, and as soon as it goes below 40% humidity, the piano goes out of tune much faster, much quicker. And even though I have a whole humidifier and in the months I have a room humidifier, it still goes out of tune. Not as badly as it once did, but it still goes out of tune, like you said, every 2 to 3 months. So I have a hygrometer. I can't reach it right now, and I don't want to waste time going to get it. But you can get them on Amazon. There's just a little temperature readout and humidity level readout. And I find that is helpful because I can see what it's like in the room here, and if I've got the humidity levels correct. I know at our church you can, and a lot of schools have this, and other institutions have those damp chasers, it's called, and they install them under the piano here, and it's to regulate the humidity, and you need to pour water into this tube when it tells you, and you so that's possible. I just didn't really want to drill into this instrument, so I went with the room humidifier and the whole house humidifier. But yes, I would say sometimes out even quicker if it's dry. And I'm not sure where you are, but located. But yeah, the drier, the worse it is. If you feel like the air is dry, my piano tuner said this: if you're comfortable, the piano's comfortable. So if you feel like the air is dry and your skin feels dry and you're, you just, then probably the piano is feeling dried out too. Not that it feels, but you know what I mean, the wood and everything. Not hydrometer, hygrometer with a G, hygrometer. Let's see if I can type it here. Yeah, there we go, hygrometer. I think that's how you spell it. So that has just, I'm kind of a nerd about the humidity. I'm looking over there right now. So just so you know, when you're, for your piano, it should be between 40 and 60% humidity in the room. Now, quite high. I find that even in the humid summer months, mine is in the 50s. But as soon as it drops below 40, they tend to go out of tune quicker. Mine right now is sitting right at 40. So we're coming up to some winter months that it's gonna get tougher to keep in tune. So if you can afford to get it tuned, get it tuned. If not, just wait it out and try to time it. Practicing is so much more enjoyable on a piano that's in tune, right? So we want to keep our instruments well maintained and in tune as much as possible. But it's always possible when it's $175 or $200 a pop, and so you got to time it. If you're making YouTube videos, or you're using your piano, in some way on social media, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If it's out of tune, if you're doing something like I'm doing, you want to keep your piano in tune, because people will say, "Hey, tune your piano." So asks, how do you invite some guests in your stream? Well, this is my first time using Restream with this format where I can invite guests on and stuff like that. The only other time I've had guests is musical guests who were not joining from their own location, been in my studio in here, and have played with me. So in terms of inviting people, I don't know, let me know in the comments if you'd like me to interview some other musicians and ask them questions, because I'm kind of interested in doing that, but I haven't tried it yet. The only other streams I've done have been performing with another musician. So whether it is a saxophone player, trumpet player, or my trio, Affinity Trio, where we have bass, trumpet, and piano. And so I've had that instrumentation in the room. I've never had drums. I had a vocalist a couple of times. But in terms of inviting someone to be a guest and bringing them in remotely and, doing more of an interview format, let me know if you'd be interested in that, because I'm kind of interested in doing that. And I think it would be a lot of fun. So I'm going to wrap it up soon. Any more quick questions before I go? I have a gig to get to this afternoon, and it's going to be bad traffic, so I'm going to have to have some lunch and get things ready for the gig. But you guys have been great. I love the questions, and I'm happy to answer them. If you're watching this later and the chat is over, please feel free to add underneath the video and or a question, and I'd be happy to answer it. So thanks so much and for hanging out and sharing your ideas and questions with me. I really appreciate your support. Thank you also to subscribers. And again, if you're in the Chicago area, I will be doing my concert at Pianoforte Chicago tomorrow night, Friday, November 14th. All right, so you guys take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.